Hello, it is August 25th and it is 12:04 p.m. So, right now I had to talk about basically the thing that I really had to talk about was basically a story that they're trying to make up about me. Basically, what ended up happening was they have every single second of me being overseas. Okay, they have me from when I was inside of my pharmacy school. Okay, they have me from when I was at home. Okay, they have me from when I was at the bus. Okay, they have me literally every single second that I was overseas, every single second that I was overseas when I was in pharmacy school. So what ended up happening was one day, what ended up happening was I scrapped up. So all they saw me doing at home was I would only be studying. The entire time I would be at home, I would be studying. That would be all I would be doing. And so what they ended up seeing was this one day, I ended up scrapping up all my textbooks and everything because all they would see me doing at home was studying the entire time. All I would do at home, every single second I was home, was studying, since that's what I went there to do. I would be studying every single second I would be at home. The thing about law enforcement is they do not tell the entire story. They only tell the part that they want everyone to hear. They don't tell the entire story, and they hide the fact that they know the entire story. Okay, let me explain exactly what I mean by that. You have to understand the fact that in my entire life, there was only one incident in my entire life when I have ever gotten angry. And that one incident in my entire life when I have ever gotten angry happened to be on my pharmacy school bus, where someone was bullying me and I got really angry. But law enforcement recorded me getting angry on a pharmacy school bus, but they did not tell the entire story about how I was being abused at home. What was going on was that at this time, my mother was working at a Food Line grocery store, but she couldn't send me money at this time. And what ended up happening was I was not being given food at home. And not only that, I would have to go home and I wouldn't get food at home. And instead, my stepmother would yell at me and she would be like, "What do we look like, animals to you? We eat what you eat. You eat whatever we have in there." And then she would just give me scraps of food left over that were literally left over for the serfs. In third world countries, they have serfs. They're not maids, they're serfs. They live inside these little huts and they only get paid about $10 or $20 a month. Okay, and that's literally what I would go through at home. My stepmother would add acid to my clothes, and she would also puncture holes in my clothes. And except for this, she would only do this to abuse me so that I would get sick and tired of it, and I would end up leaving pharmacy school and going back home to my mother. My mother at this time, I didn't ask her for any money, mainly due to the fact that she worked at a Food Line grocery store. But I had already dreamt a dream of getting a PharmD with zero loans, so I had to work hard at it in any way, shape, or form possible. So what ended up happening was there the one time in my entire life, throughout my entire life, it happened when I was on my pharmacy school bus. I got angry, and law enforcement recorded the entire incident to make me look like an angry person, when in fact they didn't tell the entire story, that I was just sitting there minding my own business. Someone was bullying me, and I had to go home that day, and I wouldn't have food at home that day. I wouldn't have food every single day afterwards. Law enforcement also made up a story about how I'm trying to gain sympathy with these stories, when in fact, facts of evidences are all there about my entire history, my entire life. So there's no reason to be making up stories about someone getting in sympathy or this or that, when it's clear from facts and evidences that I'm only telling my story as it was and as it occurred, as the facts and evidences will also prove. Every single day, law enforcement would see me that I would be studying every single second that I would be at home. All I would do at home was I would study. The facts and evidences will show and prove you that all I did at home was study. Even my textbooks I would keep locked up in my closet to make sure that my stepmother couldn't take those and try to throw them somewhere so that I couldn't study. I would keep them in my closet locked up so that no one could steal my textbooks or do something like add acid to them so that I couldn't study anymore. Every single second that I had at home, all I did was study. Law enforcement has to give an account of what I was doing at home the entire time. They have to tell the courts what I was doing the entire time when I was at home. They're not telling that. They're not saying every single second Hassan was at home, this is what he was doing. They're not saying that. They're not saying that every single second Hassan was at home. The only thing we saw him doing the entire time he was overseas was studying. We literally saw his brain savant evolve from the one that we saw on January 20th, 2026 of a 9-year-old child getting a pleasure from watching documentaries like they saw on January 20th this year, to have seeing that brain savant evolve with in front of our very own eyes before it started to gain superhuman powers, and those superhuman powers started to evolve more and more. Law enforcement is fighting teeth and nail right now to inhibit that 30-minute test. I have given everything I could to try to get this 30-minute test. Law enforcement is fighting tooth and nail right now to inhibit that 30-minute test, and it's only due to their sex addiction. And if you don't believe me, I can show you outside my window right now. No car is going to pass by my lane, mainly due to the fact that Junaid got rejected again today. Mark the time and the date, and Junaid got rejected again today. Okay, so basically, yes, the thing that you have to understand is the fact that the entire time I was overseas, the only thing that law enforcement saw me doing the entire time I was overseas, every single second I was home, was I was studying all day long. Not 1 second would I be spending doing anything else. No video games, no nothing. Sometimes, yeah, in the mornings I would just watch Rome series. It was about documentary about the ancient emperors of Rome, but that was like once a month or so. Mainly, the only thing I did every single second was study. Every single second I would study at home, and that was it. Law enforcement has to give this fact. They are not telling the entire story. They're not telling this fact that every single second I was at home, I was studying. They're not giving this fact. Okay, so then when we move over from this fact, now we have exactly the setting in which I was making up stories. Now, the first thing is, you know that I was only making up stories because it was a schizophrenic cousin of mine, and he always had stories, and I never had any. Okay, it might sound a little funny, but it is true. That is what happened. Okay, there are two reasons you know that the stories are fake. One is the entire life of mine, I've only gotten angry one time in my entire life, happened to be on a pharmacy school bus, and that law enforcement recorded it, didn't tell the entire story about how they're not letting me talk, about how I was being abused at home with my stepmother, due to which I was acting up in pharmacy school bus. Nothing at all about it, about how I couldn't say anything due to the fact that I'd be kicked out of the house and I wouldn't have a place to stay, and then at that time I didn't even have food. So they're not telling, law enforcement's not telling the entire story about that. What are the chances that the entire life I got angry one time in my entire life, happened to be on a pharmacy school bus, and they caught that? But all these stories I'm making up about getting into fights at school and this and that, they didn't catch a single one of those stories. What are the chances of that? Absolutely zero, right? Absolutely zero. One time in my entire life I get angry, it's on a pharmacy school bus, and they catch that. But all these stories I'm making up at home about me getting into fights at school and this and that, and they didn't catch any of these stories. What are the probability of that? Absolutely zero. The other thing you have to remember is what law enforcement has confessed. Law enforcement has confessed in court that they had my brain cell locked up the entire time. Okay, this April 22nd, this was all the way in the back of my head. These ears were all the way in the back of my head, and my brain on the inside, it was just, right now it's like this, it was like this, it was just like zing, 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 zing. It's like thousands of times more powerful than normal human beings, and I'm trying to push this court forward to please give me a 30-minute test so we can just look at it. I'm not interested in the girls. I have no interest in them. Okay, I already have someone in mind. Okay, I'm just pushing it forward so we could display everything towards the court so they know what the chances of that brain savant being the main motive behind everyone's envy and greed. So basically, yes, law enforcement has confessed in court that they had my brain savant locked the entire time I was overseas. You have to understand the kind of brain savant this is. This brain savant is literally like a jet engine. It just starts off like zing, it's like that. Okay, it starts off like that. If they let it go for 5 seconds, if they let it go for 5 seconds on June 5th, 2025, if they let it go for 5 seconds on June 5th, 2025, I know that they let it go. If they let it go for 5 seconds on June 5th, 2025, I know they let it go. The entire time I was overseas, they did not let it go for 5 seconds. And the tools that they were using to lock it up for the entire time I was overseas were the same tools that would catch every single whisper, and those same tools have caught all of Adamji's whispers. So basically, Adamji was a liar and a fabricator. He thought that he could play around with the courts because he was 10,000 miles away. They have these tools that they could use to listen to anyone's whispers, even 10,000 miles away. So what ended up happening was Adamji lied on early July last month, and he got caught. So he was like, oh my God, I got caught. I'm going to have to whisper a little bit more. He whispered a little bit more. He got caught again, lying and fabricating amongst each other about the lies that they were fabricating against me. And he was like, oh my God, we got caught again. Whispered a little bit more. He whispered a little bit more, and this time he gets caught again. He's like, oh darn it, I got caught again. The entire month of July, he whispers lore and lore and lore. He still gets caught with these same tools that have my brain savant locked up. Now, on August the 7th, this very month of August the 7th, he says he starts playing a game of deception with the courts. He says, I've been caught lying many times. He hasn't. He knew Hassan really well. He was BFFs with Hassan. He wants to give a testimony. You have to listen to him now. So Adamji, out of his extreme envy, where he said, I'm extremely envious of people like Hassan living overseas. I wish they would have gotten kicked out of their countries and forced back to their own countries. He said that with his own mouth. He gets a fifth person to testify against me on August 7th. Now, this fifth person, basically, what happens is they super whisper to him everything. Everything was a lie. They use one text message as evidence. Even that was a lie. Okay. Every single thing that this person was saying was basically a complete and total lie. They had one text message that person had sent me, and that text message had the word Johnny written in it, which means love, and basically, they said that because that person used the word Johnny on me, then that means that that person knew me really well. When in fact, it was just a way of speaking. Like, I used the word bud a lot when I was in pharmacy school, and people used to make fun of me. Okay, it means nothing. Okay, just because someone used the word love on you, Johnny or love, and I used the word Johnny or love back on them, did not mean anything. Adamji knew this due to the fact that Adamji knew that he had not found a single other text of this person the entire time he was looking for it. Not only this, they went through every single second I was overseas with these tools that have my brain savant locked up. They could not find one instance of me ever talking to this person in person. Never talked to him in person. So I never talked to him in person. There's no record of me talking to him online. There's no record of me ever again talking to him over text. There's no record of me ever calling him. One text message that had the word Johnny, which means love, written on it, and Adamji used it for his advantage to deceive the courts into thinking that I knew this person really well. Then Adamji, on August 7th, this very month of August, what Adamji did was he gave them 50 different lies, and he told this person 50 different lies about me to be giving to the courts. He super whispered these lies, and he still got caught with the same surveillance technology that has my brain savant locked up. Now, the thing about it is, this is like the 50th lie that Adamji made, since he lied throughout the entire month of July, fabricating false testimonies and lies against me. Then on August the 7th, he plays a game of deception with the courts and the trial where he says, I've been caught lying a billion times. He hasn't. He knew Hassan really well. He wants to testify. You have to listen to him now. And that person was super whispering. Adamji was super whispering to this person, and they were all complete and total lies that he was super whispering to this person. Every single one of those lies on August the 7th that Adamji made to this person, they were all caught. You got to remember the history behind Adamji. The only reason Adamji has this person on August 7th, this very month of August, lying and fabricating against me is due to the fact that he was lying the entire month of July. He lied way too much. He lied so much that that what ended up happening was he got caught every single lie using the same surveillance technology that has my brain savant locked up. Now, you got to remember, the entire time I was at home, they went through it. They just didn't go through me at school, mainly due to the fact that they wanted evidence of me being a drug addict, sexually perverted, or aggressive individual, and they wouldn't find that at school. Obviously not. So they tried to look for it at home, and all they found at home was me studying every single second that I had at home to try to get my degree back over to my mother, because we've already dreamt of it, and I had to work hard for it. So basically what ended up happening was yeah. What ended up happening was, so Adamji got caught on August the 7th again, lying after making 50 different lies and fabrications against me throughout the entire month of July, getting caught each and every time using the same surveillance technology that has my brain savant locked up. Adamji gets caught lying again on August the 7th, except this time on August 7th, this very month of August, he was using a fifth person to lie for him, mainly due to the fact that he knew that he'd lied so many times throughout the entire month of July and gotten caught fabricating every single time that this time it just won't seem believable at all. So he had to get a fifth person to lie for him, and now on August the 7th, he super whispered into this person's ears all the lies he wanted him to say about me after Adamji taught this person how to deceive the courts and the trial in thinking that I knew this person really well, even though there was only one text message, and throughout the entire time I was checked for in-person meetings with people that I made overseas. There wasn't any instance of me ever meeting this person, except for that one time he asked me for my number, and then he texted me one time my entire life, and Adamji used that one text message from that one time to make it look like I knew this person so well that I shared all my secrets with him, talked to him every night before going to sleep every night, even though Adamji knew that there wasn't one instance of me ever talking to this person in person. There wasn't any other text message of me ever texting this person except for that one text message. And then he used that one text message. He used the word Johnny that he took out of that one text message that means love, and he used it to deceive the trial into thinking that I knew this person really well, to make up false and fabricated testimonies against me through this person. Now, so what ends up happening is, this is how much deception Adamji has done against this very trial till this very month of August. It was to the point that he lied so much throughout July that he could not lie anymore himself. So he gets a fifth person to lie for him on August the 7th, deceiving the trial and thinking that I knew this person really well, first by using one text message that had the word Johnny written in it, which means love, before making the trial think that I knew him really well and shared all my secrets with this fifth person, before telling him what my secrets were supposed to be, which were obviously all fabricated and false, since Adamji super whispered into his ears what he wanted him to say were my secrets, that I actually had absolutely zero evidence of throughout them, scraping through every single second I was overseas. And now Adamji had this person make these false testimonies against me on August the 7th. Okay, so basically, yes. Now, this is the background for Adamji and how much of a liar fabricator he is. He's doing this out of extreme envy, since he admitted and confessed with his own mouth, saying, I'm extremely envious of people like Hassan. I wish they would have gotten kicked out of their countries and forced back over to their own countries. Is what he said with his own mouth as his motive behind why he did what he did. Now, the thing about it is, the thing that courts need to understand is the fact that law enforcement never tells the entire story. Okay, they're never going to tell the entire story about what I was doing at home the entire time when they were trying to find evidence of me being sexually perverted, drug addicted, or aggressive individual. Every single second I was at home, I was studying. The entire time I was overseas, every single second I was awake, I was studying. And so basically, yes, that's what the facts and evidences will show. Now, So basically, yes, and they have every single second of me being overseas, every single whisper I made, like the one that Adamji was caught making on August the 7th. They have every single whisper of mine on the record for them to retrieve, since they would not let go of my brain savant for even 5 seconds, because if they did, like June 5th, 2025, I would know that I had a brain savant. So they couldn't let go of it for 5 seconds, which means that even for 5 seconds I did not have a break for even whispering something that would literally be off the record. So I did not have a 5 second break of being able to whisper something off the record that would not go on file. Courts have to understand this fact. The fact that the entire time I was overseas, I could not have a 5 second brain savant test, like how I did on June 5th. June 5th, what ended up happening was law enforcement likes argue amongst each other, okay? People standing around arguing, they're like, he just has muscle memory. That's all he has. He just studied a lot. I saw him overseas. He just studied a lot. And that's all it is. It's just muscle memory. He just memorizes things really good. And the other guy goes, no, it's a brain savant. And then they go, okay, fine. We'll test it out. On June 5th, I was parking my car. They turned my brain savant on. It obviously, if it's a brain savant, it turns on like a jet engine. It's like extremely powerful, so it turns on like zing, like that. So for 5 seconds, my brain savant was on. It was like a jet engine while I was parking my car. And I knew my brain savant was obviously, it's like thousands of times more powerful than normal human beings can ever imagine having. It's a brain savant. You got to look up the definition of one on Google. And so, yeah, so it turned on like a jet engine on June 5th, which means that if they let it go for 5 seconds, anytime I was overseas for 5 seconds, anytime I was overseas, I would have known that I had a brain savant. So they couldn't let go for 5 seconds while I was overseas. This means that I did not have a 5 second gap of being able to whisper something while I was overseas that would not go on record. Not a 5 second gap of being able to whisper something that would not go on record. You got to remember, this surveillance technology catches your voice as soon as it leaves your voice box, which is why Adamji got caught throughout the entire month of July. Him of all people should know this surveillance technology. And on August 7th, Adamji tries to deceive the courts into thinking that that he could super whisper into this person's ears, tell him every single thing that's supposed to be my secret that I was supposed to share with him. Every single one of those things, whispers got caught. You got to remember, before it reaches the other person's ears, it's got to travel through Adamji's voice box. It's got to go through his brain. The brain gets scanned, and the voice box gets scanned through the surveillance technology, which means that Adamji's super whispers on August the 7th were all caught, and he was a complete and total liar and fabricator, fabricating with someone else, a fifth person whom I did call Johnny, but I only texted him one time my entire life. There's no record of me ever speaking to this person ever in my entire life. Adamji knew this because he couldn't find any other thing. No other record of me talking to him, no other text message of me texting him. So he used that one text message with the word Johnny in it to deceive the trial into thinking whatever it was that he was trying to tell him that my secrets were, which obviously were all false. He whispered in his ears what he wanted him to lie about me. So basically, yes, the entire time I was overseas, there wasn't 5 second gap of me ever getting a 5 second gap and being able to whisper something without it going on the record. So what are the chances? So basically it's impossible, whatever theory that they're playing against me in the first place. Now, the thing about it is they scrapped through every single second I was at home when I was overseas. All they found was the only thing that they found was not sexual perversions, drug addiction, or aggression. All they found was me studying every single second I would be at home. They literally saw that brain savant of a 9-year-old child watching documentaries and getting pleasure of watching documentaries as a 9-year-old child that they tested from their time machine on January 20th, 2026, this very year. They saw it evolve before it gave me superhuman powers that literally take 30 minutes to see with a naked human eye. Nothing to argue about. Okay, if you want to argue about it, just give it 30-minute test and then you can argue after the 30 minutes. It's not that hard, okay? So basically, yes. So that is what happened. Now, The entire time I was overseas, the only thing that they saw me doing was studying at home. That's literally it. So one day what ended up happening was my cousin with schizophrenia came over, scrapped over all my books and everything. I put it in my closet, and instead of him making his schizophrenic stories to me this time, I just made a couple myself about how I was getting into fights at school and this and that. Yes, it's it's not that big of a deal. Human beings can do that. It's okay. But you have to remember the fact that I've only got angry once in my entire life while I was being abused at home every single day. I didn't get food at home. No one would give me any food, so there was no point in me telling anyone. And that one instance of me getting angry on a pharmacy school bus, they recorded it from a pharmacy school bus, pharmacy school bus, and they recorded it, and then they used it against me from the same surveillance technology that has my brain savant locked up. They used all the whispers that I made to recorded it through their same surveillance technology, and then they used it against me to make me look like an aggressive person, when in fact they weren't telling the entire story about how I had acid all over my body, my punctured holes in my clothes. Me and my mother had already dreamt a dream, and I did not want to let go of this PharmD with zero loans of mine. And I had to go home and study, and all I had was water, and that was it. And I had to run on this for a couple of days. I had no clue what I was going to do later on. So yes, these are facts and evidences will prove this. If I was being watched, then they should have this. Okay, so yes, yeah. So basically, yes, they didn't tell the entire story. Law enforcement didn't. Law enforcement didn't say that all he did was study at home the entire time, and on that day he had to go home and study with only water as his only supply for food, and he was getting abused. On top of that, he had acid all over his clothes. He wasn't letting go of his PharmD degree, and so they didn't tell the entire story. They only told the part that they wanted to tell. So now you have to understand the fact that the entire time I was at school as well. So if a person is at home and all they do is study the entire time that are at home, every single second that they're at home, what are the chances that they're going to be getting into fights at school, to be getting themselves expelled, when at home they're not letting their stepmother's abuses get to them, or to the point of being forced to leave school? Obviously not. No one does that. Okay, I'm not going to get expelled at home when I'm clinging on to life expelled at school when I'm clinging on to life at home so aggressively, like this weird looking ugly duckling stepmother with like her jaws are like all over the place like that, and like she's like this ugly duckling weirdo, and she was like all obsessed with making sure that I couldn't get my PharmD degree, and I was obsessed with getting it. So basically I did everything I had to do with trying to get my PharmD degree with zero loans, and I had to work really, really hard. Law enforcement will go ahead and they will testify that literally everything I did at home was study. That's all I did throughout the entire month. All I did was study. Now, you have to look at common sense over here. What are the chances that if all I do at home is study the entire time, not 1 second is spared? What are the chances that at school I'd be getting into fights and getting expelled? Obviously not possible. Okay, we all make up stories in our lives. It doesn't have to be serious. It doesn't have to be true. You could make a joke, or you could make up stories like with your schizophrenic cousin. It happens. It's life. It's like once in a lifetime you could do that. Law enforcement, you have to remember the things that law enforcement has confessed, except for the fact that they even had me on camera using these surveillance technologies on the pharmacy school bus, due to which they got that one time I've ever gotten angry my entire life. What are the chances, okay, that they didn't have me at school? First of all, the chances are zero, mainly due to the fact that they confessed that they had me at school. How do you know this? Because because of what they confess. So they basically, law enforcement confessed that it wasn't just my last biochem where they used severe amnesia drugs to force me to fail. They used it in numerous other exams as well, which means that the entire time I was at school, pharmacy school, they were making sure that I wasn't in the exam room or taking an exam, because if I would be in an exam room or taking an exam, then they would force me to fail it or score lower than normal people, making it a miracle that I got all 108 exams done and brought my degree back home to my mother. So yes, you have to understand these facts that are coming from law enforcement's own confessions. So what are the chances that law enforcement's watching me the entire time I'm at school and they hear me just making up stories to my schizophrenic cousin, and they catch that one time my entire life when I'm on a pharmacy school bus of me getting angry due to the abuses I'm going through in life and poverty and not having money for food or anything like that, and they did not catch any fight that I got into at school. Obviously not possible. Obviously not something that could happen. Okay, they would have definitely gotten it. They would have definitely used it in court and trial against me. They were definitely watching me at school in order to make sure that I cannot score well in any of my exams, in order to make sure that I do not have a 5-second break from my brain savant being locked up so I never find out about it. They have to make sure that every single whisper of mine goes on the record for not even a 5-second break, which means that if I was getting into fights at school, getting expelled or anything like that in pharmacy school, then they would have had this on record, which they don't, only due to the fact that that was a schizophrenic cousin of mine. He always made up stories, and one time I made up my stories. Okay, that is all that happened to it. There's nothing else to it. People that are trying to make up stories against me right now, you have to understand their history and how much they've lied. My dad, the greedy framer, right now, as we speak, all he does is beg me for money all day, night long. He does not work. He just sits at home and he's blackmailing me for price tags of money all day and night long. Look over here. This is August 24th. This is yesterday. Look at the price tag on here. It is almost €1,000,000 right there. 965,000, almost €1,000,000 right there. Okay, this is yesterday, 1:28 p.m. This is almost what? This is what? 3.25 million euros. 3.25 million euros that he's blackmailing me for a price tag for me to give him illegal assurances for when my brain savant gets freed. Okay. Then this is from August 22nd at 7:16 a.m. Okay, this is Revolut, which is a money transfer app in Ireland. It's like Venmo over there. Okay, this is August 23rd, 1:55 p.m. Revolut. It's a money transfer app in Ireland. Okay, and then this is August 24th, 1:33 p.m. Okay, same blackmail price tag for almost €1,000,000. That's $965,000. That's almost €1,000,000. Okay, then he said, and then on August 22nd at 10:37 p.m. August 22nd at 10:37 p.m. He's sending me MoneyGram, which is basically saying, okay, will you give me this money that I'm asking you for? Okay, then on August 24th at 1:36 p.m. he's saying a mafi, which means a mafi basically means forgiveness. Okay, so yes, this man is a deranged, delusional, psychotic individual, my dad, the greedy framer. Right now, you have to understand why he's asking for forgiveness. He's asking for forgiveness because he made numerous false testimonies against me over and over and over and over again. He's a deranged, psychotic, delusional man. Every single thing he said was a complete and total lie from facts and evidences. Okay? Every single thing this psychotic, deranged, delusional individual, my dad, the greedy framer, has said was a complete total lie. First thing he said, he was a medical doctor. He's not been a medical doctor in any country in the world ever in his entire life. Never gave the board exams for any country in the world ever in his entire life. There is an instance known by law enforcement as the infographics incident. In the infographics incident, you will find out that my dad, the greedy framer, once tried to scam a hospital into thinking that he was a medical doctor, only to get kicked out of that hospital after they found out that he wasn't licensed anywhere in the world. Okay, except for this, he lied saying that he went to a university in Ireland after he went there. There's no record of him ever going on their website. Forget going there. Not even their website ever. He just heard their name and he used it to try to deceive the trial and the courts into thinking this. He lied about every single thing he said so far, okay? Everything that he said was a complete and total lie. November 20th, he forced his framer sisters to make against me only because he got rejected from my Brain Savant money that you just saw from yesterday, him asking me, okay? My Brain Savant money that he cannot deny, since this is from yesterday, him begging the courts and the trial of this is yesterday, August 24th, 1:28 p.m. This is 3.25 million euros. This is yesterday, August 24th, 1:21 p.m. This is almost a million euros, 965,000 euros. Okay, these are literally from yesterday. Let me show you another one from yesterday, August 24th. This is the same blackmail price tag, different time. 1:33 p.m., same, 965,000 euros. The psychotic, deranged, delusional individual, my dad, the greedy framer, has been sending me blackmail price tags all day, night long. He asked me for illegal assurances of money, basically on November 1st, saying, ask Hassan if he wants to go with me. I've been rejecting you all year. Why do you think I'm going to go with you? I'm not going to go with you, okay? I know what you want. You want illegal assurances of money. I'm not giving it, okay? He wanted money assured to him before my Brain Savant would get freed on November 1st. I said, no, leave me alone on November 1st, due to which he went and he begged his framer sisters on November 20th to make a fully fabricated false testimony against me, created mass panic and chaos. The government had to hire a government informant amongst them to find out all the lies they were fabricating, only to find out that they caused mental health effects on every single news anchor in the country after November 20th, only to find out that every single thing was completely fabricated and complete and total lie. Then, early January, he made up more lies over and over again, very aggressively, that would not give me a life sentence, but a death sentence. He would make it like, this is how Hassan made this crime. He committed it, my sister saw him, this is how Hassan committed it, only to give me a death sentence, only to make sure I would die so that my mother could not get any of this Brain Savant money that he cannot get. And this is nothing to be arguing about. If anyone argues in court, please tell them kindly. It takes 30 minutes. Do you want to see it in 30 minutes? Do you want to see it in 30 minutes? No, you don't want to see it in 30 minutes. And don't argue about it, please. Okay? So the entire month of January, my dad, the greedy framer, made up lies very aggressively against me over and over and over and over again, only to make sure my Brain Savant money that he couldn't get, no one else could get. And mainly my mother could not get either. After February 10th, he's been told that my Brain Savant is going to get freed. It's inevitable. The courts knew that he was full of lies and nothing else. February 11th, he starts sending me incest requests. This psychotic, deranged individual would sell his own sisters for money, is how psychotic this psychopath is. And he was sending me incest requests for his ugly looking big fat sisters all day and night long. So this was sent to me February 11th at 3:17 a.m. and he was told that this is an open advertisement for incest with sister's name written right over here, with Sunny Leone written right over there. Sunny Leone is a porn star. Look at the date over here. Right now it is over here. The date over here is March the 7th, right over there. Date is March the 7th, right over there. And this was sent to me when? February 11th. First time, and he was told on February 11th, 3:17 a.m. this is an open advertisement for incest, and yet look at the date right over here. It's March 7th right over there, which means that on March 7th, he's sending me a fully labeled advertisement for incest for his own framer sisters with a porn star's name written on it, Sunny Leone, with his sister Farah's name written on it over there as well. Sunny Leone, Farah, right over there. March 7th to date, even though he was told that this is an open advertisement for incest on February 11th at 3:17 a.m. Then he starts sending me his incest request for his big fat ugly old sister, offering every single day, March 10th, and every single day afterwards. This is how psychotic and deranged this individual is. While he's sending me all these blackmail price tags for illegal assurances of money, offering big fat ugly old woman in Pennsylvania dresses up like a nun. This is March 13th, by the way, not March 10th. Every single day after March 10th, he's sending me these. Okay, this is March 13th, by the way, not even March 10th. Then March 17th, it's labeled as incest on March 10th. This is March 17th. Okay, this is March 17th, and he's still sending me advertisements for his ugly old sister dresses up like a nun in Pennsylvania. This is March 17th, every single day after March 10th. This is how deranged this psychotic individual is. While he's sending me these, he's also sending me blackmail price tags for millions of euros all day and night long. Every single day, all day, every day is how deranged this man is. This is a billionaire's neighborhood in Mayfair, London. He wants a house in the billionaire's neighborhood in Mayfair, London on April the 4th is how psychotic this man is. This is billionaire's neighborhood in Mayfair, London. He wants an apartment in the billionaire's neighborhood in Mayfair, London on March 1st, thinking that I would be fully put out through this pressure of giving me illegal assurance. I told him, heck no, you're not getting a single penny out of me, okay? This is this deranged, psychotic, delusional individual. He thinks that he can pressurize me into giving him illegal assurances of money before my brain savant gets freed. And I'm telling him right now, you get absolutely zero of any of this money that you're asking me for, okay? He's been asking me all day yesterday as well. Hundreds of thousands of euros all day, night long yesterday, out of which he's getting absolutely not one red cent out of me, okay? Yesterday, it was August 24th. This is like almost $1 million yesterday, 1:21 p.m., 965,000 euros. Are you kidding me? Like, people have problems in this world, okay? 1:28 p.m., 3.25 million euros. I could have a wife that could have a disease. She could have loans. She could have problems. We have our own issues to deal with. I'm not supporting 50 families, okay? This is not something that happens in a trial. You cannot be blackmailing the accused for illegal assurances of money before his brain savant gets freed while making lies after lies after lies. And what he does is, when he's caught lying a billion different times, he starts asking for forgiveness. A-mafi means forgiveness. He starts asking for forgiveness. Yesterday at 1:36 p.m., he starts asking for forgiveness, thinking that A-mafi, Ferrari, mafi means forgiveness. He starts asking for forgiveness, thinking that he could get illegal assurances of money that way. All he does is sit at home and make up lies about me. Nothing he said so far was true. In early April, he made more lies against me over and over and over and over again. He abused aggressively every single person in this trial to try to abuse them aggressively. And then he'd be like, no, I'm telling the truth over here. You have to listen to me. And then he would talk very aggressively, rudely. He would abuse every single person in this trial throughout the entire month of April, okay? And he was told by the honorable judges of this trial, they were like, look, Mr. Ansar, all you've done is ask Hassan for money, hundreds of thousands of euros, millions of euros, all day, night long throughout February and March. Then you asked him to commit incest with your sisters in exchange for illegal assurance of money. We have it on file because you asked law enforcement to send it to him. All the blackmails, all the incest requests. Now, you're abusing everyone in court throughout the entire month of April. If we find out that you lied again, you will be kicked out for good. You will never be allowed to narrate in this trial because he abused every single person in trial in April with his aggressive rage to make sure that no one could interfere in him making aggressive lies against me. And the courts had to go through every single phone conversation only for me to tell them at the end of April, Your Honor, you're going to find out from every single one of those phone conversations that every single thing my dad, the greedy framer, said was a complete and total lie from the facts and evidence of the phone conversations. And guess what? That's exactly what they found out. He was only doing this to make sure that my brain savant money that he cannot get, the millions of euros that he's still sending me blackmail price tags for through law enforcement, by the way, so you can ask them that my mother cannot get. This is yesterday, okay? August 24th, 1:21 p.m., 965,000 euros. This is August 24th, 1:28 p.m. This is 3.25 million euros. And this is same thing, same blackmail price tag, different time, 1:33 p.m. This is almost a million euros, 965,000 euros. Okay, he's only doing this for the money. He wants illegal assurances of money. I won't give him a single penny of illegal assurances, not even a fake assurance. All right, this is not how trials work. You can't just keep making lies about a person and then asking the accused for illegal assurance of money when his principal gets freed. That's not how trials work. Okay, I'm not giving him a single penny of worth of assurances. Okay, so yeah. Then he comes up after April and he tries to force the courts into listening to his narration again. And then he gets caught again. May 2nd, 12:48 p.m. He starts calling me frantically like a psychotic, deranged individual all day and night long on May 2nd, 12:48 p.m. to ask for the same maafi, okay, that he sent me yesterday. The same maafi, which means forgiveness, that he sent me yesterday. He was asking me for it on May 2nd at 12:48 p.m. only because he got caught lying again. He was already told in April he can't come narrate anymore because all you did was make up lies and false stories about me. So on May 2nd, 12:48 p.m., when he gets caught lying again, he starts calling me frantically, thinking that my brain savant's going to get freed since there was no one else to make up lies and false testimonies against me. And now he wanted illegal assurance of money from me. So he was frantically calling me, the same person he's saying in court is a terrible individual whose brain savant shouldn't get freed. He lied over and over and over and over again. This sexual perversion, drug addiction, aggression thing that they've not been able to prove against me. And right now they're using very severe aggression drugs on me, due to which I can't even smile. When in fact, anyone from my high school would tell you that I cannot stop smiling to help save my life. On August 18th, he made up all kinds of lies about me. Again, how many lies? Like, August 18th, claiming that I was sexually perverted, drug addicted, that I was low IQ, dumb, stupid, all these lies against me on August the 18th. Again, he gets caught lying against me. So please do not let him narrate against me anymore. Okay, all he does is lie against me. Every single thing he said against me has been a complete and total lie from facts and evidence is proven. And every single accusation that they're making against me is going to be easily proven or disproven from the facts and evidences of my brain savant being locked up the entire time I was overseas, with even the slightest whispers of mine being on record, like how we caught Adam G's slightest whispers on August 7th and throughout the entire month of July using the same surveillance equipment. It has every single whisper I made on record. We do not need my dad, the greedy framer, to make narrations. I have never lived with him, not even in the same country. Even when I was overseas, I've never even lived with him even in the same country before. Never talked to him on the phone, making it impossible for him to have any influence on my life or environment whatsoever. He wants to either make so many lies against me while having law enforcement torture me, while using those lies to torture me so that I would be pushed in and pressured into a state where I would finally just be like, all right, fine, I'll give you the money when my brain savant gets freed, sort of thing, when I'm not giving him a single penny, okay? Or he wants to ask me for forgiveness and try to play the nice card. He's not getting any money out of me. That's what he's using this trial for. And I have it from yesterday where he's blackmailing me for hundreds of thousands of euros, just yesterday, not a billion years ago. Okay, this is yesterday, 1:21 p.m., 965,000 euros. This is yesterday, 1:28 p.m. This is 3.25 million euros. This is yesterday, 1:33 p.m., and it's once again it's 965,000 euros. He just wants money out of me. Okay, he wants to make sure my mother's not the only one getting it. He won't get a single penny out of me, not even a fake assurance of it. Okay, he wants a legal assurance of money before my brain savant gets freed. All he's done is lies. He's already been kicked out in April, and then he was allowed back in, due to which on May 2nd at 12:48 p.m., he was caught lying again, even though he was kicked out in April. Then he made lies after lies after lies. On August the 18th, he made lies against me, claiming I was low IQ, dumb, stupid, sexually perverted, drug addicted, everything to make me look bad, only to be caught as complete and total lies. Please do not let this psychotic, deranged individual, my dad, the greedy framer, make any more narrations against me. All the evidence is on file. You don't need him to make any more lies against me. Everything is on file. All he does is make lies against me. Then he gets law enforcement to put pressure on me through torture. And then he asks me for money. If your brain salon gets freed, are you going to give me this much money? And he always asks for like these psychotic requests. Like no one has this much in liquid form anyways. Like read a book for once. It's like he wants what? 965,000 euros. He wants 3.25 million euros. Okay, he wants this psycho like all day, night long. All he does, this is just from yesterday, by the way, all day yesterday. Please do not let him narrate in my trial ever again. He's done nothing but lying against me over and over and over again. And then he gets law enforcement to pressurize me through torture using his lies. And then after his lies get caught, all he does is beg me for illegal assurance of money. And he's like, are you going to give me this money or do I have to go back to court and lie against you? Okay, he's just using the trial for his money. Okay, please don't let him narrate in this trial anymore. He's made numerous lies against me. All he's done is lies, and then he gets caught with his lies, and then all he does is blackmail me with price tags of millions of euros, for which I'm not giving him a single penny of, by the way. So yes, he was illegally told by the law enforcement about my brain savant and what artificial intelligence said about it, due to which he's after that money like crazy. He knows that he doesn't deserve a single penny of it, and he's after that money for like crazy. So please don't let him narrate in my trial anymore. Thank you.